Hi, my name is Katie Cheadle, and I'm a mindfulness-based psychotherapist and performance coach specializing in working with athletes, teams, businesses, and individuals. I'm so excited to do a video that is made just for parents, which I think is the most important part of the student-athlete experience. And it often gets overlooked because we talk so much about the athletes' lessons and their coaches and their teachers and this whole team that helps our athletes thrive. But the role of the parent is so important. We're going to talk about some ways that as a parent you can help your athletes' performance and also help their mind state and their mental health through integrating mindfulness and utilizing some tools that can enhance their mental game. Oftentimes as parents, our support can be mistaken by our athletes as pressure. So what we feel like is showing our kids support and coming to the games and having an active role in their practices and talking to them in the car ride home, it can actually be perceived by our children as pressure. And it is so important for us to acknowledge this fact and realize the long-term impact that that can have. When our kids feel like we're putting pressure on them, it can actually cause performance anxiety. It can decrease the enjoyment that they're having playing the sport, and it often causes burnout, which could even mean that our kids will stop playing the sport altogether. So we can help our children practice mindfulness as an athlete by the questions that we ask them. So often the questions we ask our kids are, well, why did you do that on that play? Or what did your coach say after this? Or hey, we've practiced this all week. I need you to do X, Y, Z. And that's a lot of what the dialogue looks like. It's result-focused, performance-based. It's more about the what and not the why and how. And when it comes to, as a parent, practicing mindfulness and the way that we're communicating with our child, it's really important to ask them questions about their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. So if there's a play that as a parent and as a spectator really was confusing you, you can ask your child, so what was going through your head on that play? Or what were you thinking before you got up to bat in that pressure situation? Or how was your mindset during the competition? So really asking them and helping them attune to what's going on for them with their thoughts. That's one way that we can shift their thinking too, because let's be honest, our athletes want to do well when they're out there. We can help shift them into that mindful state. We can also ask them how they're feeling. What did it feel like when that happened in the game? What did it feel like to get that big hit? What did it feel like to miss that ball? Allowing them to tap into their emotions. And then having them check in with their physical body. As a parent, it can be really powerful for us to ask, how are you feeling? How's your body doing? And showing compassion to them in that way. Questions like that are mindfulness-based, they don't make our children feel pressure. They help our children feel supported. And by modeling this type of questioning, our children are now practicing mindfulness. One of the best ways that we can really support our children again in practicing mindfulness is bringing conscious awareness to what our own wants, desires, and hopes are for our children. And I have a questionnaire that I really challenge parents to do, and it's available at katiecheadle.com. But it really forces you to do the inner work to notice, like, what do you hope for your child? Do you want your child to get a scholarship? Do you like the validation that your child gets when they do really well? Does it make you feel something when fans are cheering for your kid or your kid gets a starting spot? We have to notice what's coming for us as we watch our kid play. What does it mean to me as a parent when my child does really, really well? What does it mean to me as a parent when my child's struggling out there? It's also important for us to notice the way we're communicating. How do I talk about my child's coaches? How do I talk about the refs and the umpires? How do I talk about my child's teammates, the other teams? The way that I'm communicating and the way that I'm observing the competition and the environment, I'm modeling that to my kid. So it's really important that we bring mindful awareness to the way that we're talking about all the components of competition when we're engaging with our children. Just as we also expect our children to have positive body language and to notice the way they're carrying themselves and how they should be mindful and conscious of their confidence and the way that they stand out on the field, we model that as parents as well. Are we confident? Are we grounded? Do we respond to things versus react? Are we emotionally regulated? When we can model these things and practice mindfulness as a fan and as a supportive parent, our child is more likely to do the same on the field. If there's a bad call and we're losing our mind in the stands, it's really hard for us to expect anything different of our children when they're out there on the field. One of the best ways that we can help our athletes, our children, improve their confidence is by modeling a 5-to-1 ratio of 5 positive reinforcement feedback statements for every 1 criticism. Coaches should be doing this, athletes should be doing this internally themselves, but as parents, it's really important that we can positively scan their performance and acknowledge what's going on for our kids. So I think it's so easy in the car ride home to nitpick everything that went wrong, but I want to challenge you to find 5 things that went really well out there. And yeah, ask a question about something that maybe didn't make sense to you, or about a play that maybe you're curious about your child's decision. But really try and model what went well out there, because our athletes, especially our high-performing athletes, they're so hard on themselves. They know what they did wrong. They know they don't need to hear it again from mom and dad. So positive scanning is a great way to model this type of behavior, and a great way for you to encourage your child and also support them in building their confidence. One of the most powerful ways that parents can practice mindfulness in the way that they're engaging with their student athlete is through listening. Listen first. And I know at the beginning of this video we talked about, using mindful questions to engage with our children, but listen. Seek to understand, listen, and be genuinely curious about what's going on for your athlete. Often we have an opinion and we just want to blurt out our thoughts, and we have so much to say, and we've invested so much in our kids, not only our time and our money and our resources. So we have things to say and we have an opinion, but I want to challenge all you parents to listen, seek to understand, and really try to wrap your arms around what might be going on for your athlete. The most powerful statement that you as a parent can say to your athlete is, "I love watching you play." And that means so much to our children and our student athletes, and that is a way of releasing any pressure, expectation on them. It really is an I statement, and I statements in communication are so powerful in general, but it's just letting them know that I genuinely love coming and watching you play. And that's it. And when we say that to our kids, not only does it take a little pressure off them, it feels good, and they feel supported, and they know that mom and dad genuinely just want to be there and support their journey. Let's be honest, practicing mindfulness and consciousness as a parent in the competitive sports environment is not easy. And so I want to encourage you to practice self-compassion and be gentle with yourself as you're making this transition. I really encourage parents to make a commitment to what they can actually take on when they're starting to practice mindfulness. And I think that one commitment could be car rides home, I'm only asking questions. Or, every couple weeks, I'm going to remind my kid how much I love watching them play. Or maybe listening. Your intention is to just really listen and try and connect to your child. Or use the positive scanning. Any of these exercises we talked about today. Make a commitment, and then go back to your commitment every month or so and be like, how am I doing on this? And no one needs to know about this except for you. But I really want to challenge you to check in and try and make a change, and know that you're going to fall off. We do get triggered. We do react sometimes versus respond. And it's hard. It's so hard to not get caught up in this environment. And we just want what's best for our child. But remember that our support can get mistaken as pressure, and we don't want our child to feel any additional pressure. We really want to support and encourage them on this journey, and part of doing that is having self-compassion for yourself and be patient with yourself as you're making this transition. Thank you so much for tuning into this. I know that not only will your children appreciate this, but the whole team will, because when we have parents that are practicing mindfulness, this is part of the team culture as well, and it can be really powerful, the role that you play in your child's development. If you're interested in getting more information like this, you can check me out at katiecheadle.com or follow me on Instagram at katiecheadle.